Okay, today we're going to take a look at Google Drive, and I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible without going too quick. And I will tell you that we will break this up into several different videos so as to not create one large video here. So in this particular segment, what I want to do is just kind of give you a brief overview of the interface, what Drive looks like, what all is available, how it functions, and things of that nature. So the best way to think of Google Drive is your H drive on the internet. And some of you may be familiar with the term cloud computing. It's a popular term that gets thrown around a lot now. But one of the great things is I've had discussions with some of you guys about with cloud computing is the storage is all done via the internet, which essentially means that, like with your H drive, you have to be on a networked computer on Mill Creek Community School Corporation's campus to be able to get to those, unless you obviously have a VPN, remote access into your desktop computer from home or anywhere else. But basically it constricts you to having to be in your building to get your files, which, as many of us know, we work countless hours from home. We may want to grade things that you've collected through the H drive, or you may have assignments that you want to work on, or any type of document. So having this Google Drive and have it be internet based, it's tied into your Google Chrome account. So assuming that you have an internet connection and a computer, you can get to this drive and anywhere. And so that makes it a really great feature. And obviously you'll see the benefit of that as you move a little bit further into using Drive and the Google Suites of services to be able to have access to the documents just about any time and anywhere. Okay, so as far as the interface, the layout of Drive, a couple of things. You can see here in the upper left-hand corner, we'll start up here, this Create button. All right, and you can see that I'm in My Drive, and we'll talk about this a little bit here. The two that you need to be most familiar with are My Drive and Shared with Me. But I'm in My Drive and I've got this Create button. When I click on this is where you would go to create a Google Doc, which is Google's form of Microsoft Word, a presentation, which is Google's version of PowerPoint, spreadsheets, which is obviously their version of Excel, a form, which is kind of a unique thing, something that you'll definitely want to be familiar with. It's a way of creating assessments and distributing them to your students, and it gives you some great analytics and feedback. If you're data driven, it can provide a lot of great things with that. And then drawing is just kind of a version where you can go in and work with images, whether you want to create something freehand or insert an image from a website or what have you, and be able to work with it from there. So anyway, this is where you would see down here at the bottom, you see Connect More Apps. I mentioned to you guys the Chrome Store in the opening video. This is where if you find an app that you want your class to be able to use, I mentioned Lucidchart. That's a great app to be able to create diagrams electronically. And so you may want your classes to have access to that. We can push that out to them, but they can connect their drive to that as well. So that would show up there. File folders, if you are a big file folder person and you want to organize things, I certainly would encourage that, especially if you start using Google Apps for Education a lot, if you're doing a lot of document distribution through there, if you're handing out assessments and collecting things, I would certainly recommend that you create a folder for that. So right here too, I think I put together a video a couple weeks back on how to get things from your H drive into your Google Drive, and so that's this upload file here. Button here. You can choose file, it'll open up your network drive, and then you can choose your H drive. You can upload Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint, all those, any basic type of file can be uploaded into Google Drive. It may not be able to read it, just depending on what the file type is. You may have to play it out and see whatever it is. Okay, the Shared with Me, you'll want to make sure, and I know I've shared some things out with you guys. I shared out a file folder with everyone in the staff called MCC SC Resources. So I shared this out to everybody in the district. You'll see this in your shared with me. So if you're looking for this, you click on it. It will be in this section right here. But this is where anyone has shared with you would be. And so obviously the people over here will not be you because someone else has shared it with you. Everything that you create will be in my drive, and you will show up as the owner of that file. Okay. If you have something that is very important, you can star it, and then it'll be placed in here. And that just simply by clicking on this little star right here, it makes it important or easier to find. Recent, trash, and then there are a couple of other things that we'll talk about later on. As we come up here, you can search. So if any of your documents contain keywords and you can't find the document, or you don't remember where you stored something, you can search by keyword. And when you type in, if you're looking for like tech terms or something like that, and you've used that, anything that relates back to that will come in here, and you can search by keyword if you're looking for a document that has a specific word or phrase in it. So that's available up there. Over here, you can change the layout of Google Drive if you want to change, the way that the files are shown. I prefer list, but if you're an icons person, you can change that. There's a settings tab over here where you can mess around with the display a little bit, and then there's also some options in here. I wouldn't say that there's a real need to get in here much. There's not much on settings, although you can see, you can set bold any updated items. If you want to turn that off, you can. There's an editing button in here. It controls some of the way that this looks. So at any rate, that's pretty much it as far as the layout of Drive. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a preview here. Again, just kind of looking in the files here, I think you can kind of figure this out on your own, but you can also filter the way that items are displayed. If you know that you changed a doc earlier in the morning and now you can't find it, you can always go to last modified and click on that, and it will give you an option as to when things were last modified, and it puts it in that order. You can go search by title. Obviously the icons over here annotate what type of file it is, so you see the blue with the lines in it, that's a doc. The little yellow thing here is a presentation. Obviously, this is a file folder, so on and so forth. Here's a Google form in here. So we'll go through each one of those file types later on in the series, but hopefully that gives you a brief overview of the layout here. Now, the last thing I want to show you is this toolbar up here at the top. If you want to share a document out, you can click on this share item, and you can see everybody that you shared this document out with is listed in here. Obviously it did that because I've got that one clicked, but you could choose any of these, multiple ones if you want, whatever. That's one way that you can do that. So you can move files into file folders. So if you want, click on that file folder, you can move a file into a file folder. You can trash it. You can preview it. There's a couple of other things that you can do over here. You can preview it. You can open it with. So like, for example, if you upload a Microsoft Word document into your Google Drive and you want to convert it to a Google Doc, that is the process of doing that. It's that simple. You open up the Word doc or highlight it, click open with Google Docs, it will automatically convert it to a Google Doc. When it does that, it will save it in the file folder in here that way as well. It'll save it with the file name as a Google Doc. And for example, here's a Word document that I have. If I click on this, go to open with, and choose, it's showing that there's not an option on there to do that. What should happen is when you click on this, you can choose open with, let me see if I've got it from here. It looks like this is might do it here. Yeah, so this opened it up into Google Docs, and so now I can choose to save a copy of it into your, or download it into your Google Drive. So there's a number of different ways that you can get documents from Word into Google Docs form, and same thing with PowerPoints into presentations and whatnot. So those are some options that are available. I would encourage you to look at those. The last thing that I want to show you up here is I mentioned in the last video about knowing how to look for help on things, and certainly I'm a resource and I'd be more than happy to help answer questions. But one of the things I'd like for the staff to kind of get in the habit of doing is looking for some answers, troubleshooting on your own. So if you simply go to Google And whatever the issue is that you're having trouble with, in this case, if it was a drive issue, if you type in drive help, then the first hit up here will be a Google Help thing, and you're notating that you're on the drive. So it says search drive help up here at the top. So now you can type in, if you're having trouble sharing a file, okay? You can see how to share, and it'll give you a list of different hits here that you can read through and get information on to help maybe troubleshoot or help you find an answer to something that you're having problems with. If you're not able to find anything through some of that stuff, then you can let me know. And again, I'm not trying to do this to lessen my workload or to say I don't want to help you, but this will oftentimes give you the answer to what you're looking for. And honestly, it's probably going to be one of the first things that I do. If you come to me and say that you're having trouble with something, I'm going to go here and look at this too. So if you could get in the habit of doing that, if you're having trouble, that would certainly help as well. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a perspective and layout on Google Drive, and gets you a little bit more familiar and comfortable with that.